Hey, how's it going, everybody? Never ordered from this site before, so thought for anybody that's interested in getting these capacitor kits and other stuff, is it's not just that they sell, man. They got a lot of other stuff too, so definitely worth checking out. But very happy with what I got. Their prices on their capacitor kits are definitely reasonable, especially for some of the really old systems. So I got my list up here of what I ordered, and I got my box in yesterday, and pretty fast on the shipping. I ordered my stuff last Sunday and got it Thursday. And let's see, I believe they were in Minnesota. I'm in Arizona, and it was a good 2,000 plus miles. So some of it probably driving, some of it flying. Don't know how they do it, but it got here quick. And they give the option of either having it boxed like I did, or if you're just getting the little kits, which all of them are in little baggies, you can have a padded envelope if you want to do it that way. But there's really not that much difference on the shipping price. So, anyways, start off with one of the cheaper kits. This is for the Magnavox Odyssey 2. I'm thinking this goes for all of them. I've never had one that doesn't have the on-off switch or whatever, which is more, I think, the European version. Both of mine have on-off switches. I've got one of them that was originally set up to have plug-in joysticks, and then another one where they're wired in, where you'd have to open up the system to unplug them. Both of those are ones to where you can do the AV mod right off the motherboard. You don't need extra parts. So that kind of saves on the time with this cap replacement, is some of those caps are meant for the little RF box, which unplugs from the motherboard. So if you do the AV mod, you can just unplug that, and where you had the RF cable hanging out, you can have a cable hanging out for your AV cord. Makes it really easy. So it's probably like 3-4 capacitors to replace at most. Anyways, that was $2.95 a piece. About as cheap as it gets. One that was expensive because there is a shitload of the little fuckers. That is for the Turbo Duo. That's why I was getting on this site. And that's going to be a definite headache to do all these. I think that thing's got like 55 capacitors, man. But it was $15.95. I know there's other sites that I've seen it cheaper for a kit for the Turbo Duo. And pretty much on that, the difference that I've seen is the size of the capacitors. All these ones that I got, and I will try and do a decent close-up here of them in the bag to show you what I mean on the size, but they're all sized to where I shouldn't have to lean any of them over. I should be able to just spread out the leads and then have them flush against the motherboard, which that's a definite plus on my end, man. I've seen a lot of people replacing them on YouTube, just showing how to do it to where they're larger size capacitors, and you got to lean them to one side or the other so that top piece will go back onto your system. Otherwise, in the way or whatever. A little bit more work. Anyways, $15.95 for that kit. Got a couple of game bit screwdrivers, and I'm really happy with these. I've never had these type. The last ones I got the actual game bits that are like socket bits, and the larger one for opening up systems, that one's lasting. The smaller one for carts, shit, it barely made it through a month. Just opening up my NES carts and getting them all cleaned up, which I don't have that big a collection when it comes to NES. So it just chewed it up really fast. I don't know what kind of metal they use, but it's cheap. Anyways, these are made out of steel. And one thing they don't mention on the site, and another place I saw them for sale at, which I'll bring that up in a minute, man, because it was batshit crazy on their prices. But they didn't mention that they're magnetic. Or at least one of them is when I open up my Turbo Duo, is the little security screws in that are steel. This puppy picked them right up. Anyways, here's what they look like. And this will fit in a Virtual Boy, which is a plus. That's why I wanted this type. If you have the types that are a bit, good luck. Maybe with a hell of a lot of force and a sledgehammer, you might get it to fit in the little freaking hole, because they're way down in there on a few. Which on mine, I took them damn things out and put in Phillips head ones. But yeah, Virtual Boy, no problem. And try to show you there. You can kind of see like a little dot dead center there. I'm thinking that's the little magnetic shaft. Shows up a little bit better on the large. Anyways, these are made by Silver Hill Tools. I did find their website. I'm thinking they're more probably like wholesale for companies to order their stuff from, as they showed the list of what they have, but they didn't give prices. You have to email them, so I'm just guessing on that. Anyways, those, I paid $7.95 for that set, which is pretty damn cheap for a couple of game bit screwdrivers. The site that I found them at was Sears, of all places, has tools for gamers, and I don't understand this at all, other than somebody's got some damn good drugs at that freaking place. Same two screwdrivers. It was like $37. Fucking crazy. Even crazier, and this was on the first page when I was looking up the game bit tools. They have a little kit where you get like a little envelope type thing to keep them in and stuff. It had those two screwdrivers, plus a little tri-wing, and I think a little Phillips head. And both of those looked really cheap. They were kind of like these precision ones, which these type, you can get these at a dollar store for an entire kit. They're cheap. Ones they had were just like this, but with plastic handles. And the metal shaft here looked really thin, man. To the point to where the tri-wing, the fins were literally sticking out. The fin part was thicker than the shaft, where you bust those suckers off if you got something that did not want to come apart. And then they also give like a little baggie of miscellaneous screws, to where if you lose any of the ones off your carts or whatever, they give you some little Phillips head screws that'll work on them or whatever. Anyways, that was like $13 for these, plus more shit. So, less money for more stuff. I don't get it. They're getting like Walmart on their site, man. They're just fucking crazy on their prices. So anyways, once again, $7.95 on those. And they do have a lot of other kits if you need tools. Got a cap kit for Sega Master System. That was $2.95. Got an AV mod kit, and this is where, if any of you know some good links on giving pictures of how to put these things together, other than just the finished product, I really appreciate it. Because there's so many different ways that they do this, and I'm yet to try it. But it was $2.95, so I figured, what the hell, man, I'll give it a shot. And I'm going to use perf board instead of just putting it directly onto the system, which is what they're showing. And it doesn't help at all, man. It just looks jumbled to me. It's $2.95 for that, which is plenty cheap for an AV mod kit for the Nest top loader. Got a couple kits for the original Intellivision, which goes for also the System 3 and Tandy Vision. They didn't mention the Sears one, but they're all the same. The Sears one is basically the bottom half of a regular Mattel Intellivision, and then they just changed the top half. Anyways, $3.95 piece for those. Got a couple for the Intellivision 2, $4.95, because there's a few more capacitors in that kit. Anyways, everything together came out to $53.50. Shipping and handling, they give you a choice of either having it boxed first class or in a padded envelope first class. I think it's like a 10-cent difference. It's a little bit more for the box, which I didn't mind that, man. It's always good to have it in a box. That was $5.29, which is pretty damn cheap for shipping nowadays. And then I think this goes on how much stuff you order. Because at first I was just going to get like 3 things and it was like maybe $1, but got a $2.28 discount. So it came to $56.51 for everything. Not bad, man. Not bad at all. Especially when it saves the time having to go to like Radio Shack or wherever on electronic parts and putting these kits together yourself. Which on that, it's really hard to save money, man. Especially with Radio Shack. My store seems to be a bit pricey. As did have to buy myself a piece of perf board to do the NES mod. This was like $2.50. Not too bad, but not too great. But it's one of them where it's just perf board with holes in it. Nothing to solder on here. It's one where you just tie the wires together and solder them in place for just doing the kit type mods. That was the cheapest one they had. So, dig it out here. Show you guys the headache, migraine, aneurysm. Where the fuck I put it? There it is. Anyways, it's one for the Turbo Duo, and just compare it to my finger there. That's the majority of the small ones, or smallest. As you can see, they're pretty damn short. They're not much higher than the originals. And then next size up is down here. Same thing. All pretty short, including the little fat round ones. Those are even shorter. So ones in the middle, nice and short. Only ones that are big are the ones that are supposed to be that size that go into the sound area on the motherboard. And those are pretty much the same size as the ones that are in there. So not bad, man. They were thinking ahead, man, when they did that kit. They didn't just go out and just buy any damn size. So very cool. So anyways, other than this kind of stuff that I picked up, man, they do sell used games. I noticed they had some stuff for Vectrex, which some of it not bad, man. They had some boxed games, and really, compared to other sites, not bad on the prices. They did have a few things for TurboGrafx. I think they had 1 or 2 CD-based games for TurboGrafx CD. Just a little bit of this and that on games. They're not really a game store. They're more for parts. But if anything, they got some. Got all kinds of cables. They got kits for modifying cables. If you're having a problem finding an original adapter, they've got mod cables to where you can rig that up to the system and then have a different size power supply jack. They've got a few new stock type ones, like the usual cables for AV for different systems. Like they got the crossover one that I'm pretty sure is one of those new stock type ones. It looks like it's gold plated for linking your 32X to a Model 2 Sega Genesis. And all of that stuff's pretty much the norm on prices. And then a little bit of other stuff too, man. They do have chip kits. I noticed the one for ColecoVision, which is nice because the place I ordered my chips from, it would have been cool if they included this with it, but they were cheap enough, so I didn't mind. But has to do with the 2 chips that you replace if your ColecoVision goes on the fritz, to where when you pop in a game, turn it on, it kind of just flashes the start screen at you where you select players and level or whatever, and goes right into the game, and then your character starts going to one side or the other. That has to do with these 2 chips just fizzling out from static or whatever. Anyways, they got the 2 chips and also a couple of chip sockets, which definitely get that in case it happens again. Then all you got to do is just pull it out and pop in a new one instead of desoldering. That was like, I don't know if it was around $3 or $4. Cheap enough, man. Definitely cheap enough. And I had a hard time finding the sockets in my Radio Shack. I was lucky to find, I think, 3 of them. It's something that they run out of. So, definitely give this site a check out, everybody. I will give a link at the bottom here, down there somewhere. Not in the lower subcoctal area, but up a little higher on the screen. So check that out, man. I'm sure there's other sites out there, but so far, for having the amount of kits that I've seen, this is the best site. Would have been nice if they had some cap kits for ColecoVision or whatever, or some more of the AV mods, but cool enough. Catch y'all later.